You know, the greatest resource that God gave us is our body. The greatest resource that we have on this earth. Obviously, I'm not talking about spiritual gifts like Jesus coming down and dying for us, but I'm talking about the greatest resource that you got is your body. When you were born, God gave you the body. And with that body, you can live and you can work and you can succeed and you can experience joy and happiness and you can do all kinds of things. And I remember when I was a young boy, when I was about 12, 13 years old, I realized that my body could do things. I could run. I could run up and down the hill. I could slide on a sled. I could climb the trees. I had the energy. I could just run for hours as a kid. And then when I grew up and became a teenager, I realized that my body was capable of all kinds of physical activities. One time I remember in Chicago, I was living in Chicago, and me and a buddy of mine, we had two old bicycles. And one Sunday morning, we got on the bicycles, and we started riding, and we didn't stop. When we stopped, we had ridden 70 miles. We didn't even realize that it was 70 miles. The only way we realized, because we had a flat tire, couldn't fix it, had to call somebody to come and get us. And when they came to get us, they looked at us and they said, "How'd you get here?" "Well, we rode a bike." "No, you didn't." 70 miles. You know, when you're young, you can do all kinds of things, right? When I was in high school, I was on a soccer team, and I could run. I could run up and down. The soccer field is the same as the football field, 100 yards, you know, and I could run up and down all day long. And then I went and aged a little bit, and I remember one day I turned 28 years old, and I was out there on the soccer field, and these young kids, they were a little bit faster than me, you know. And then I stopped playing soccer because I said, okay, I'm not as good as I could be anymore. And I didn't play for 7 years. And when I was 35, I was in Colorado Springs pastoring, and I went and joined the team, and I said, I'm going to play. I'm going to go play indoor. And I went to play an indoor game, and I tell you, I felt like an old man. I was 35 years old. I felt like an old man. I started running, made a sprint about 10 yards, and I just pulled something, and I was walking the next 3 weeks like this. You know what I mean? And you know how that goes, right? You've been there, done that, you know. And then as the time goes by, you realize that you are just not what you used to be, and you get used to this, you know. You kind of get used to it, and now I look in the mirror just from the front, you know. That's how I look in the mirror, because from the front, I still look okay, you know what I mean? It's not that bad, and especially if I do this kind of a thing, I'm passable, you know, it's good, you know, but as soon as I turn this way, you know, the other day I got up out of the bed, you know, and by accident, I glanced in the mirror as I was facing it sideways, and this whole thing was kind of hanging over my underpants, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, Gordon, what's happening with you? What are you doing with your life, you know? All of that chicken and Taco Bell and hamburgers and Coca-Cola every day. You can't eat in America without drinking Coke. Can you eat? How do you eat the burger without drinking a Coke? How do you eat the burger without eating fries? It's impossible thing to do. You can't do it. I don't understand people who can do that. If I'm having a burger, I'm going to have a Coke and fries. And as a result, here we are, you know, talking about a health seminar message thing. You know what I mean? I have a cousin, my cousin Mike, back in Croatia. He left when he was a young man. When he became a young man, about 22, 23, he was a tall, good-looking, handsome, in shape type of a guy, you know. He got married, and he and his wife, they moved. They went to Germany to live and work over there. And I did not see him for 27 years. 27 years I didn't see him. And then I went back to Croatia when I went the first time a few years back to see him, to see everybody, and I heard he was in town too. And I wanted to go see him pretty bad because we are cousins, first cousins. And then somebody told me that he was in the hospital. And I tell you, I went into that hospital, and there he was on the bed. And he totally reminded me of my dad. Same family line. You know, I mean, he was lying on that bed, and diabetes was killing him. And they were talking about amputating his leg, and his heart was not working good anymore. And he noticeably aged in those 27 years. He was now a man in his late 60s, and it just wasn't a good picture. And the doctor came in while I was there with his kids, and the doctor said to him, "You're going to have to change. If you want to live, you're going to have to change the way you eat. You're going to have to change. You can't drink alcohol anymore." Everybody back in the old country likes to drink. You can't drink anymore. You can't eat pork. You can't eat fried foods. And my cousin just was speechless on the bed, and he looked up at the doctor, and I remember him saying to his son in Croatian, he says, I can't do that. I can't do that. And you know, he died a year later. A year later, he died, and they buried him. And I'm thinking to myself, why do we put up with our deteriorating physical health? And the answer that I have is because it happens so slow. I was not 197 pounds always. 198? Oh my goodness. I was not. When I came here, to the United States as a 16-year-old, I was 135 pounds. In high school, I was 140 pounds. And then when I hit my 30s, I was 150. And then when I got into my late 30s, I was 160. And then when I got into my 40s, I was 170. And then as I aged and got into my late 40s, I was 180. And now I'm 190. It just creeps up on you. And you don't feel it. You know what I mean? At least not in your regular daily life. But go out there and try to play ball. And all of a sudden you realize, okay, this is not the same body. This is not my body. Whose body is this? My body used to be able to do all kinds of things. And I can't do that anymore. I was playing soccer with somebody when we had, 2 years ago, we played soccer, and I was trying to stretch my leg over there to catch that ball, and my leg was just too short. It could never reach. You just lose it. And we put up with it because it comes up on us slow. And here we are. I'm looking at this congregation today. Here we are. We are all different in so many ways. We got people here in this church, different skin color, different nationality, different educational levels. We got people in this church who are engineers and lawyers, and we got people in this church who never had a chance to learn how to read and write. And we got people here, different ages and different health levels. We got people here from Africa. And we got people here from Russia. And we even got people here from Tennessee. We got all kinds. And we are all different, right? We're all different, but yet at the same time, we all have the same goals. And our same goals are to achieve in our personal life. Everybody here in this room, whether they're from Africa, whether they are from Russia or Tennessee or Colorado, everybody wants to achieve in their personal life. You want to have a better life. You want to have enough money to support yourself and your children, and you want to have a decent future. Everybody has that same goal. I don't care what skin color you are, and I don't care what language you speak. Everybody on the planet has that same goal. And here in this church, we are no different. That's our goal. We want to achieve. I want to achieve in my own personal life. I want to have a good, healthy church that is vibrant, that helps people, that makes a difference in the community, that serves its members properly. I want to achieve all of those things in my life. Here we are in this church, we want to tell people about Jesus. That's why Nina is doing what she's doing. That's why Jasmina is editing TV programs and putting them on TV. That's why we have the Sabbath school. That's why we have the potluck. That's why this summer we are going to have the picnics and invite people from the community to come over. Why? Because as a church we have a common goal. We want to tell people about Jesus. Another common goal that we have in this church is we want to raise our kids in the church. We want them to stay here. You know this. I've been focused on this ever since I came here. We want our kids to love to come to church. Just to love to come to church and enjoy the church and be a part of the church and become the new generation of leaders in the church. So, as different as we are, we have the same goals. And we want to achieve those goals. And then something happens. We have obstacles in our life to our goals. And how many of you have had days? I talked to Jim the other day and I said, I went home and I sat on a couch and I turned on the TV and I didn't get up for the next 3 hours. And Jim says to me, well, don't feel bad. I did the same thing. You just lose that energy. You're working hard. You're going through life. You got too many responsibilities. You got young and old. And how many of us, a lot of times I feel a lack of energy. I just lose it. I get up in the morning and I get my coffee and I get my bagel. I don't know if there is anything worse than that, but I get it, I eat it, I put it in me, and then I go. And by 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm done. My brain is not thinking anymore. Brain dead, sitting in front of TV, watching something that makes you even dumber. You know what I'm saying? And there's a cycle that we go through. There's a cycle that we all go through. And then you start experiencing the lack of health. First thing that in my case went was my eyesight. I had to buy these $6 glasses at a dollar store. And they do help. Even though they are made in China, I guess. They do help. So your eyesight goes, and then I noticed that another thing that in my case is happening, my blood pressure is different than what it used to be. And sometimes it gets up there, 130, 190, 130 over 90, 140 over something, and I'm looking at the little scale over there in King Soopers, and it says high blood pressure. I'm 52 years old. I'm losing my sight. My blood pressure is going bad. Diabetes, another thing. I go in and I, prick my finger because I want to test myself. And what do I see? I see 105, 107, 125. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, everybody is telling me that I'm a pre-diabetic. And I'm wondering am I going to end up the same way as my cousin did, as my dad did? Am I going to end up in a hospital with my legs being amputated and die in some nursing home and put that kind of pressure on my family? And these are real issues, And when you really think about it, this is happening. Why? This is happening to me because I'm the product of our society, just like you are. We are the products of our society. We are the society that is, American society is a society that is constantly seeking ease and comfort. Ease and comfort. Look at the homes that we have. You don't have to burn wood in your house anymore. You just change the little dial and your temperature goes up and you're warm in the winter. And we have homes that are more comfortable than most hotels. Big bedrooms, big soft beds, jacuzzis, and we are constantly seeking comfort. Look at our cars in America. We have a power steering. Why? Because, it's easier to just sit there and just move it with your finger. You don't have to struggle with it. We have power windows because we don't want to roll the windows down. You just push the button and the windows go up and down, We got power seats. You push the seat and the seat goes up and down and wherever you want it. I have in my car a button, when I push it, it warms the seat so my doesn't get cold. You see what I'm saying? I mean, we even have cars now, and I think everybody has this, where you don't even have to manually adjust your driver's side mirror. You just push the thing to the left, and then you adjust your mirror and your other mirror. We are just a society that is seeking comfort and ease. We don't want to do anything. We just are too lazy. Cruises. People come up to me and they say, my cousin one time came to me, we went on a cruise. You should have gone with us. I said, what did you do? Well, they did nothing. They got massages all day long. You know what I mean? And they paid good money for it. And I'm thinking, how narcissistic do we have to get? I want a cruise where I'm going to sit in bed all night, and in the morning they'll come and feed me. And then they can come in and exercise my arms, so I get my exercises. And look at fitness clubs. I saw a picture of a fitness club in Los Angeles. I wish I had that picture to show you. It's a fitness club, and it has an escalator that takes you into the fitness club. You don't even have to walk up the stairs to get in there. It's just amazing. Workplaces, the same thing. I'm reading about the new generation of people. They only want to work in the workplaces that provide all kinds of amenities and comforts. In Europe, if the workplace does not provide beer, people don't want to work in there. We just want comfort. We just want to be pampered. And as a result, Americans are the softest and fattest people on the planet. And I am an example of that. I'm very soft right here. We are the softest and we are the fattest people on the planet. And we don't have energy and we are not achieving things. We got restaurants on every single block. We are the people of the bulge. We have a bulge here, we have a bulge here, we have a bulge here, we have a bulge everywhere. You know what I mean? How can you not get overweight in a society like this? There is a Taco Bell on every corner. Now, the FDA says that, I don't know how I got on that, but they say that Taco Bell meat is more of everything else except meat. Taco Bell is fighting them. Soft drinks, fried foods, everything that is not good for you is being sold to us. And it's being told to us that it is a good thing that we should have it. And if you watch TV for any amount of time, all you're going to see, the most of what you're going to see is commercials for Pizza Hut and everything else. You don't even have to go out. You can sit home and they'll come and bring you food. And then we ask ourselves, how come we have lack of energy? How come we are not having a better life? How come we are not succeeding? Why? Because everybody wants an easy solution. Have you seen that State Farm commercial where they just stand there and they sing a little annoying song? State Farm, you're in good hands, whatever, and the State Farm agent just pops up. There you go. You don't even have to You don't even have to call them. You just sing a little jingle, and they come and they pay your claim. And another one that I like is Staples office supplies. They have a button, right? Solution button. You don't have to do anything. You just hit the button and all of your problems are solved. And as a society, I think we all want an easy solution. We got diets that allow you to eat cookies. How do you go on a diet that allows you to eat cookies? We have exercise programs that last 3 minutes. If you do this for 90 seconds a day, we guarantee that you're going to lose body fat. And you're not going to hurt. You're going to be fine. This is the society that we are living in. Everybody wants an easy solution. Diets do not work. Diets do not work. They absolutely don't. Diets are temporary, and so are the results. More than 62% of Americans are overweight, and more than half of all Americans was on a diet at one time or another. That's the story on the diets. I found a book that I'm going to share with you at the end of this series. And this is probably the most logical book that I have ever read on weight loss and on putting your health in balance. And the advice that I found there, this is what I did. About a year and a half ago, I applied that advice for about 2 weeks. I went from 190 to 182. And then I said, oh, this is so great. I can do this anytime. And then I went back to my old habits. And the old habits brought back the old results. So today I want to share with you a couple of these principles that are in this book that I think can absolutely, definitely change your life forever if you apply these in your life. Natural hygiene is a term that originates in the ancient Greece. And Hippocrates said, thy food shall be thy remedy. In other words, what you eat affects your health. What you eat affects your health. The modern history of natural hygiene in the United States began in 1830s. And the name of the fellow that started it is Herbert Selton. And the basic foundation of natural hygiene, is that the body is always striving for health. And that it achieves this by continuously cleansing itself of, I don't know what that word means, but it means something bad, of bad materials that are in your body. In other words, that makes sense, doesn't it? God made our bodies in such a way that body always wants to be healthy. Your human body, will always do everything that it can to remain healthy. It will fight to stay healthy. And the only way the body can stay healthy is if it constantly eliminates all the poisons that come into the body. That's the only way your body can stay healthy. If all of those poisons are allowed to come out of your body. So, the next slide that you're going to see, the natural body cycles, is absolutely the most life-changing slide that I have found ever in my life. And if you follow this, only this, and if you don't change anything else, if you continue to drink pop and to eat steaks and everything else, but if you stick to this, your life is going to change. If you only stick to this natural cycle of the body. The natural cycle of the body says the following. Let me see if I can explain this. From noon to 8 p.m., the body is made to appropriate food. In other words, to eat and to digest. From noon, that's the natural cycle of the body. At noontime, you can eat. You can eat beans, you can eat potatoes, you can eat steak, I don't care. You can eat chicken. Your body is made in such a way that from noon till about 8 in the evening, you can eat as much as you like, and your stomach is going to digest it. And during that time, when I lost the 8 pounds in less than 2 weeks, I would eat up during that time. From noon to about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because digestion takes 3 hours. You follow me? So if you eat your last meal at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, your stomach is going to be digesting it for 3 hours. That's until 8 p.m. By 8 p.m., you should not be having anything in your stomach anymore. So from noon till 5 o'clock, you can eat all you want to. You can eat your big meal at 5 o'clock, and you can start digesting that for the next 3 hours. And then what happens? From 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock in the morning, this is, by the way, scientifically all proven. I'll share the book with you, and you can look at all of the references. From 8 to 4, body assimilates. Everything that was digested now goes into small intestines, and body assimilates the energy from the food into the bloodstream and into the cells on a cellular level. Body needs the energy to do this. You follow me? It needs the energy to do this. So what happens if you eat really late at night? How do you feel the following morning? Anybody? You feel sluggish, right? Why? Because your body was supposed to be assimilating the nutrients that were in the small intestines, but instead it had to do all of the digestion for 3 hours first, because you ate at 10:30 at night. You see what I'm saying? So you're working against your body. You're totally working against your body. So from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., assimilation. So you stop eating at 5 o'clock and you don't eat nothing until 4 o'clock in the morning. From 4 till noon, your body is made up to eliminate all of the body waste and poisons from your body. Now, I know that there are going to be some who are going to disagree with this, and that's fine. I'm not here to sell anybody on this. I'm telling you what worked for me. Some people will say you need to have a huge breakfast. But body is trying to eliminate all of the body waste and food debris. So at that point, the only thing that you should eat until noon is fluids and fruit. Apples, bananas, any kind of fruit. You can eat it all you want. Why? Because it only stays in your stomach for a few minutes, and it helps the body eliminate everything else that was in there. If you follow this cycle for 3 weeks, I absolutely guarantee you that you're going to lose weight. Because what you're doing is you're aiding your body. You're helping your body to do its job. When you go against your body, then you're taking the energy from the body, and it cannot do its job, and you just get to where I am today. You see? How do we feel in the morning when we eat too late? We already answered it, right? Why? Because natural body cycle was interrupted. And out of all of these cycles, the elimination cycle is the most important. If that cycle is interrupted, one gains weight. In other words, stop eating by 5 in the morning, by 5 at night, and then in the morning until noon, eat fruits and drink water. You do that, you're fine. The rest of the day, you can eat whatever you want to eat. 2 ways toxins get into the body. One is the natural function of the body. Every day, 380 billion old cells are replaced by new ones. So the old cells are toxic and need to be eliminated. They're removed by the bowels, bladder, lung, and skin. And that's a natural process of the body. But there is a second way that your body gets filled up with poisons. It's from byproducts of foods that are not properly digested, assimilated, and incorporated into cell structure. So every time you eat, let's say you eat processed foods. What's a processed food? Anybody? Potato chips, that's a processed food. Anything that has changed its form from the original is the processed food. When you eat that, it taxes your body, and it creates poisons in your body. You know what what the body does with those poisons? You know where they go? Into the fat tissue. Because the body wants to keep those poisons away from the heart and away from the lungs and away from the liver. So it puts them into these fatty tissues that we have on our butt and our stomach. You know, that's where it puts it. So the example is like this. Say you're working in a factory and they give you 15 boxes every day to shred and to throw away. And you don't have enough energy, you don't have enough time. You were able to only shred 10 boxes that day. At the end of the day, you had 5 boxes that were left over. By the end of the week, you have 35 boxes that were left over. Because next day you get another 15 and you can't process the 5. By the end of the month, you have 150 boxes that are left over that you were not able to process. What do you do with them? You got to store them somewhere, right? If your body cannot get rid of the poisons, if it cannot get rid of the wastes, if it cannot get rid of all the bad stuff that you eat and drink, it has to put it somewhere. Where does it go? You know where it goes. Right here. Into the fat. That's why I am now 190 pounds. No. My goodness, you're right. 198? 198 pounds. I'm 5'8". You know, I should be 150, 60 pounds. But all of this is here because I am not working with my body. I'm not allowing my body to get rid of those 5 extra boxes every day. And as a result, 30 years later, here we are. And how many of you are the same way? How many of you can't play soccer or football like you could when you were a teenager? You know, not everybody. We got some very healthy people in this church. We do. And we want to applaud them. And they're all now sitting there and saying, see, we told you so. But it's okay. We're going to catch up with them, right? There you go. We're going to catch up with them. So your body has to get rid of that stuff. So right now, take a second and on a piece of paper that's in front of you, just write down the things that you ate during the last 2 days. I just want you to take 1 minute and do that. Just scribble down real fast the things that you ate in the last 2 days. And while you're doing that, I'm going to continue with this. Our planet, the planet Earth, is made up of 71% of water. Our human body is 70% of water. If the body is 70% water, then it is logical that the best foods that we should eat to maintain our body are the foods that have high water content. Only 2 foods on the planet have high water content. You know what those foods are? Fruits and vegetables. They are the only foods on the whole planet that have high water content. Everything else does not have a high water content. Everything else is called concentrated food. If you eat bread, that's a concentrated food. If you eat chips, that's a concentrated food. If you eat any kind of meat, that's concentrated food. Anything that is not fruits and vegetables is concentrated. It does not have a high content of water in there. And that's just a fact. You can't change that. Now, look at the list that you just wrote down. Look at the list. And what is the majority of the food that you ate? Was it a high water content food, or was it condensed, packed food? Huh? Which one was it? We are a product of our society. We eat all the junk that they sell us, which is everything that is bad, and we have become fatter, we have become softer, we have lost our energy, we have lost our ability to achieve things in life, we have lost our ability to do things like we should and like we could. And we struggle. And some people say to me, Pastor Gordon, I just can't change. I tried, I can't change. And some people look at themselves in the mirror and they say, you know, I'm no good. Look at me. I'm overweight. I got no energy. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm in this rut. And I want to tell you something. God loves you whether you are 300 pounds overweight or whether you are as skinny as Tom over here. God still loves you the way you are. You know what I'm saying? He loves you. So he accepts you. He accepts me at 198. He does. And if I was 240, he would still accept me. And if I was 300, I had a friend who was exactly my height, and he was 320. And I tell you, God accepts you the way you are. So if he accepts you the way you are, you accept yourself the way you are. Accept it. Just say, this is me. This is me. God loves me. And then say to yourself, God also gave me the tools to change. And God also gave me the ability to do something about it. The problem is that nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants the pain. We are a society, a country, a nation, a world. Everybody is this way now anymore. Europeans are the same way. Japanese are getting obese now, you know. Everywhere where they open McDonald's, people are getting obese. You know, and that's a fact of life. McDonald's can complain all they want to, but it's true, you know. And people don't want that pain. I don't want the hunger pains. I don't want the pain of the aching muscles when you're working out. So the easiest thing to do is just to sit in front of the couch and do nothing about it. I'm here to tell you that if you do this for the next 21 days, it's not going to be easy. You got to learn to love the pain. When you feel that hunger, you need to say, I love you, hunger. I love you, hunger, because you're going to help me be nice and skinny and good looking again. That's what you say to yourself. When your muscles start hurting because you were lifting weights or working out there, you need to say, I love you, pain. You're on my side. You know, why? I love you, pain. Help me. You know, the attitude needs to change. Amen. The attitude needs to change to where we say, okay, it's going to be hard, but I'm going to do it. And no, Jackie, I'm sorry. You cannot go on this and still drink a pop. You can't. Diet doesn't matter. It's full of poison. You're working against your body. You know what I'm saying? So if Pastor Gordon is saying to you right now, today, I'm going to, and you know me, this is not salvation by, I already said in an email. I'm not preaching here a vegetarian lifestyle because I believe that we need to be saved that way. No. I'm just saying this is what I want to do for the next 21 days. And I'm inviting the rest of you to see if somebody else wants to follow and if it's going to make a difference in your life. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with some of the articles of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar to the house of God, and he brought the articles into the treasure house of his God. Then the king instructed Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, to bring some of the children of Israel and some of the king's descendants and some of the nobles, young men in whom there was no blemish, but good-looking, gifted in all wisdom, possessing knowledge and quick to understand, who had the ability to serve in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the language and literature of the Chaldeans. You're not going to be the slave. You're going to be in the king's palace. You thought you were going to be a slave, but you're not. You're smart, you're good looking, you're going to be in the king's palace. There's a story so far. And the king appointed for them a daily provision of the king's delicacies. and of the wine which he drank, and 3 years of training for them, so that at the end of that time they might serve before the king. King says, I'm going to take these guys, and I'm going to put them in my service, and I'm going to give them the best of everything. The best food. Your personal chef is preparing it for you. Why? Because these are going to be the future leaders of the country. They're going to be the achievers. They're going to be the go-getters. They're going to be the most successful people in the kingdom. That's who these people were going to be. Now, from among those of the sons of Judah were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. To them the chief of the eunuchs gave names. He gave Daniel the name Belteshazzar, to Hananiah Shadrach, to Mishael Misha, and to Azariah Abednego. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine which he drank. King is putting you in his palace. He's going to educate you. He's going to feed you. And Daniel says, I'm not going to defile myself with that food. Why? Because he was Jewish. And on that table there was going to be all kinds of swine and unclean foods and unclean meat. And he says, I'm not going to even go there. I'm not going to mess with it. Can you imagine a slave rebelling against the king? Therefore, he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. In other words, he says, can I not eat this food? I don't want to go with the program. Is that okay? Now, God had brought Daniel into the favor and goodwill of the chief of the eunuchs. And the chief of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who has appointed your food and drink. For why should he see your faces looking worse than the young men who are your age? Then you would endanger my head before the king. He says, when the king sees that you're not eating properly and that you're looking weak and sickly, he's going to come after my job and my head. So Daniel said to the steward, whom the chief of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please test your servants. And this is what I'm proposing today. Test for 21 days. Please test your servants, in this case for 10 days, and let them give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearance be examined before you, and the appearance of the young men who eat the portion of the king's delicacies, and as you see fit, so deal with your servants. So he consented with them in this matter and tested them for 10 days. I want to do the same thing for myself. This is not the thing where Pastor Gordon is saying to everybody, oh, you got to do it. No, you choose what you want to do. But because of what's going on in my life, I want to do this for 21 days. Why? I want to do it for 21 days because 21 days is the number of days that it takes to break any bad habit. At least they say. So let's find out if it's true. Right? So in my case, what I want to do, number one, I will eat according to the natural body cycles, like I already told you. 5 o'clock, it's over. This morning, I did not have coffee. I did not have the bagel, because for me, it started this morning. And I'm going to come back here next week and stand in front of you and preach, and I'm going to stand again on this scale. This is getting worse and worse. I'm going to stand on that scale. I'm going to be your guinea pig, you know. You can tell if this works or not. But this is what I want to do. I do not want to eat the processed foods. When I come to church, Jim, I'm going to bring food for both you and me. So we don't have to go to Subway or Taco Bell or whatever else. This is the extremely hard one for me, not to drink pop or coffee. I have pop every single day. I have Coke. Candy is shaking her head at me. I have Coke. I like Coke. And then sometimes I have Pepsi. But I like Coke or Pepsi. And then you know what the worst thing is? I order the small one. And then have 5 refills. How we cheat, huh? We cheat, don't we? So this is what another one, huge one for me is meat. I am not giving up meat, I want to tell you that. I'm not. But for the next 21 days I am. After that I'm going to continue eating it, but not like I used to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to tell you. We had a preacher one time here, not a preacher, but I would say an expert here one time on something, not on theology, I'm sure, said that nobody who does not become a vegetarian before Jesus comes is not going to go to heaven. I'm not going to tell you that. The Bible doesn't teach that. That's total nonsense. That's the ultra-right, conservative wing of the Seventh-day Adventist Church that is preaching that. And it's only some people. And I can say that openly as a pastor of this church, as a pastor in the Adventist Church. The Bible doesn't teach that. The Bible teaches that we are saved by what Jesus did for us on the cross, not by what we eat or drink. But I also know that God created my body a certain way. And if I'm going to fuel it, I need to fuel it with the right kind of fuel. I have a car, and I was putting in this old car the premium fuel. And Tony, the mechanic, our friend, he's not here today. I said to him, something's wrong with this car. Could you look at it? And he went, took it for a ride, and he came back, and he says, what kind of fuel are you putting in there? I said, I'm putting premium. He says, that's an old car. That's an old engine. You need to put just regular in there, and it's going to burn just fine. And as soon as I switch, the car is running fine. You know what I'm saying? So I know that our bodies are made in a certain way. If you fuel them right, you're going to be more efficient. You're going to think better. You're going to be able to do things in your life that you couldn't do before. That's why I'm doing this. Not because I'm trying to cram something down your throat about salvation or whatever. This is strictly health, about our health. And then I also will exercise 1 hour per day. That's what I'm going to do for the next 21 days. And then we are going to see if the test applies also to me. And I also want to know how many of you are going to join me. And at the end of 10 days, their features appeared better and fatter in flesh than all the young men who ate the portion of the king's delicacies. Thus the steward took away their portion of delicacies and the wine that they were to drink, and gave them vegetables. What did he give them? High water content food. High water content food. Vegetables. And I was thinking to myself about this. Can I do this? Yeah, I can do this. You know why? Because I like to eat potatoes, and I like to eat beans, and I like to eat rice. And I like to eat all of that other food that's not heavy, condensed, processed food. And that's why I want to do this. If you want to join me on this, anybody who wants to join me on this, write your name on a card. And either give it to me or put it in the box over there. And if you don't have a card, and if you think that somebody else is going to see it, you can write it on any piece of paper. Just write your name, and I'm gonna know what you are going to do. And the reason I'm asking why for you to join me is because at the end of the 20 days, I would like to have more testimonies than just my own. How is this going to affect some of the rest of you? And if you can't put it on a card, email me and say, Pastor Gordon, I'm going to join you in this for the next 21 days. I want to say one more thing before I close here. Anything that is worthwhile is hard. Michael Jordan did not become the best basketball player in the world because he sat on the couch and watched TV for 5 hours at a time. John Elway did not become the best quarterback in the world because he never exercised and he never worked out. And the top people in this world, whether it is the science or education or business, they did not get there by being lazy and by looking for an easy button to push. Everything that is worthwhile in your life is hard. If you're young people and you want to get an education, you got to study hard. And you got to sacrifice and stay at home when all of your friends are out there playing around. You got to stay home and study if you want to have your doctorate degree and if you want to have a good salary ahead of you. If you want to achieve at work, you got to work hard so that your boss will give you a raise. If you want to achieve in your marriage, you got to work hard with your wife. You got to give. It can't always be your way. If you want to have a better body, you got to work at it. If you want to have better health, you got to work at it. It's not easy. You know, I'm looking at... one time I read an article on, out of all people, on Pamela Anderson. I'm serious. I read this article on her. And you know, we make fun of people. We make fun of people because of how they look. We make fun of people because they are whatever, you know, blonde actress in Hollywood. And she shared in that article her regimen of eating and exercising. I tell you, it would put a United States Marine to shame what this woman does. When she gets up in the morning and goes to work out and watches everything that she eats, she's not the only one. Everybody out there that has achieved something in their life has paid the price for it. God loves you. He cares for you. He gave you biblical examples of how to be an achiever and succeed in life. But you're the only one that can make that choice. You're the only one that can take that step to change in every area of your life. This is not just a sermon about health and diet. God bless you as you contemplate what I have shared with you. And I hope you will be back next week, because I got a feeling that this is only going to get better from now on. God bless you, and watch what you eat this week. Amen.